Morning guys, it's very early in the morning, it's 7 a.m. in the UK and my family's asleep. But I felt like I wanted to tell you my ulcerative colitis story and my experience of it when I first realised something was wrong and how it affected my strength, my energies and the embarrassment of having ulcerative colitis. And you people out there that have got autoimmune problems like Crohn's and IBS and ulcerative colitis will understand where I'm coming from. And just to show you a very embarrassing medicine that the doctor tried to give me, which I only did once or twice, rectal foam, just the words rectal foam. That's embarrassing, yeah? Anyway, no offense to people out there that use it, but that stuff can seriously harm you. I know it can get rid of short-term effects of having ulcerative colitis, which is a very uncomfortable problem, but in the long run, it doesn't help you, it doesn't fix you. You want to sort out your ulcerative colitis. I find it hard to say ulcerative colitis. You have to sort out what goes in this mouth. But let's carry on talking. So I'm in my early 40s, maybe 41, 42. Just gonna do my usual flex that I always do. By the way, I'm 56. And I feel amazing that I'm talking quietly because it's so early in the morning. And the family are asleep. So I noticed I started feeling weaker. And when I would run with my kids, I was much slower and I didn't have that spark that I always had when I used to run in my 20s and 30s. I was a fast runner. Something felt different, and this is when the chat becomes slightly more embarrassing. I started leaking when I was going to the toilet, like a mucus was leaking. And then I started going to the toilet 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. That's weird. And every now and then some blood would come out. And I just thought, there's something seriously wrong with me. I need to go to the doctor like we all do. So I went to the doctor and he was very blasé and laid back about it. He said, yeah, I'm gonna have to put a probe inside you. This probe was this long. So he did that. It was one of the most painful things I've ever had to do, and embarrassing, because a man is putting his fingers up inside me. It was one of the worst days of my life. And at the end of it, he said, yeah, you've got ulcerative colitis, proctitis, words that I didn't understand. And I just thought to myself, why? I eat quite healthy. Meat and steaks, not meat and salads were one of the main things I eat, but a lot of salad. And we've spoken about oxalates. Vegetables have oxalates in them that cause problems, cause inflammation. And I used to have 2 large salads a day. And yes, I was also eating the sugars and the carbs and the bad foods as well. Because obviously we all know that salad is really healthy because it's full of vitamins and minerals, but no, because yes, salads, fruits, vegetables have vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff in it, but as well it has oxalates, defense mechanisms, anti-nutrients within these vegetables that your body doesn't like, and it inflames your body throughout and causes inflammation, not just in your gut, but in your joints, in your brain, literally all over, which then has a knock-on effect, which can cause very serious problems for you down the road, especially if you're eating these foods for years and years. And he said to me, you're gonna be on medication for the rest of your life, this kind of medication. Remember, these are rectal medicines. They go up from your back passage. And I just thought, I'm in my early 40s, I was in good condition, I was quite fit, I've got a beautiful wife, I had lovely children. I thought, I'm on medication for the rest of my life. Is that serious? Am I on the slippery slope to becoming very unwell? So I Googled ulcerative colitis and all those kind of illnesses, proctitis, IBS and Crohn's, and I just couldn't believe that I had this illness that was going to stay with me until I died, that was going to seriously affect my health. And he even said down the road, this could have serious consequences with my with my gut stuff, you know. I don't even know the words. Even, you know, possibilities of a colostomy bag and having part of my bowel removed. And I just thought, is this really happening to me? And I did try some of this, which did stop the leakage, the seeping, and reduce the amount of times I went to the toilet, but it only stopped it for a week. My choice was this: keep putting this in me, a steroid, a toxic steroid, or just hope that it goes away. And I tell you what I did. I said to myself, I'm never going to that doctor again, ever. I'm never using this again. And I'm just gonna live through it and hope that it all passes. Well, it never did pass. And I kept having flare-ups. A flare-up is basically when you start leaking badly and you start having to run to the toilet constantly in case you actually poo yourself. Sorry for using that word. And I went through this for 15 years of being too worried to leave the house in case I had an accident. This was very upsetting. I would be lying next to my wife in bed leaking and I would not tell her. I kept it to myself. It was so upsetting. I was so embarrassed. I was leaking. My beautiful wife, and here's me trying to hide that I was leaking. I never told them that sometimes when I was out with them, I would nearly have an accident. I would hold it in and rush to the toilet, and 99% of the time I did manage to get to the toilet, but not always. There were times when I never did, and I just kept it a secret. I didn't want people to know how embarrassing it was that sometimes I had this illness where I had uncontrollable bowel movements. Could you imagine how I felt for 15 years? And I stayed away from the steroids. But what the doctor never once said to me is change your eating habits. Not even once did he say that to me. So anyway, years and years later, and it's 2023, around June, and I start looking up a way of losing weight because I was fed up that my stomach had ballooned. My face had got fat. I just felt unwell. I felt tired. I wasn't sleeping. And just generally, I felt, Louis, you're on a slippery slope to dying here. I actually felt like I was dying. That's the truth of it. And I stumbled across this diet, carnivore diet. And I know that Dr. Ken Berry was a big part of the videos or the questions and answers that he would do on his live shows. But many others, like Sean Baker and Anthony Chaffee and is it Paul Saladino? There was many qualified doctors that were talking about the carnivore diet, and I thought, I'm gonna give it a go. And you already know this from my past videos. Within a week, I stopped going to the toilet 8 times a day. I was down to 1 time a day, and I thought, oh my God, this is too good to be true. And it carried on, and it completely disappeared. There was no seepage, no leaking, no rushing to the toilet in case I had an accident. I had this weird spurt of energy. I had this new glow about me and this excitement to get out of bed each day and to love the day. You've heard this on all my other videos, and I'm telling you now, this was what fixed me. Stopping the sugar, the carbs, the fizzy drinks, the alcohol, the pastas, spaghetti, the pizzas, the fast food meals, the margarine, the vegetable oil, stopping all these foods that were causing serious problems throughout my body and must have caused my ulcerative colitis. My gut didn't like the foods that I was putting in here. I was harming myself. It wasn't because I was born with it or I had become unwell because of DNA or genetics or whatever people want to say. It was me harming myself. I was doing this to myself for 15 years. I was putting stuff in here, and not once did a doctor say change what you put in here. So I'm telling you now, if you have ulcerative colitis or other autoimmune problems with your gut that are embarrassing, change what you put in here and it will clear up. But you must eat meat, fatty meat, eggs, fish, salt, butter, water, nothing else. Get rid of everything else. Stay away from bread and grains. They're not good for you. Stay away from all the inflammatory problems. I would say don't bother with vegetables and fruit at first because they have problems with inflammation because of the oxalates. And maybe after 30 days, if you feel that your problem with ulcerative colitis or autoimmune issues reduce, then maybe you can have some very low carb veg and fruit. So this is my story, and the moral of my story is I harmed myself by what I was putting in this mouth, and as soon as I stopped putting all those foods in my mouth and I started eating the correct foods that we were designed to eat, which is basically fatty meat, eggs, fish, butter, salt, water, all those things together. I know I keep repeating the same thing, but it's such a simple diet, it's such a simple advice to give you. I got back to normal and my weight dropped off and I have no problems. This goes in the bin. I have no problems anymore. I have a life to look forward to. I'm not dying at the moment. I'm healthy and my skin is all cleared up. My hair has got all better. My eyes have cleared up and I just feel strong. I feel like I can take on the world. I'm 56 years old and I feel 30. So you can reverse, cure ulcerative colitis and autoimmune problems. You can also reverse pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes. You can drop off the excessive weight that is on your body because your body, instead of using sugar for its energy, will start using the fat on your body for its energy, and you will drop the weight and all of a sudden you will love life again. Anyway, thanks. I've been going on way too long. It's very early in the morning. I wanted to share this story. I hope it helps. Thanks everyone.